Stadium. Coach Chris Oliver joins me now high above Blue Raider Stadium field, and Lindsey Wilson with a 63-49 win here this afternoon. And Coach, we knew coming in that was going to be one heck of a football game, and it proved to be just that.
Yeah, I mean they're really good. I thought we had definitely probably the toughest draw of any of the home teams, and that's more just as a respect for how good Southeastern was. I mean, they were a known team. We'd obviously played them. Really tough matchup, and our guys handled it really well. It was kind of a tough week to reset mentally, coming off the big win against Campbellsville and clinching the conference championship and all that stuff. And then you go and play a rematch, and that's hard mentally to turn the page. And I think it was a little bit of a slow start for us this week. It wasn't that we didn't work hard; it was just tough. And ultimately, thought we came out focused. Obviously, we'd love for our defense to play a little bit better, but that's the #1 scoring offense in the country. For a reason. I mean, they're really good, and I think if you look at their season, I think they had 49 against Faulkner, and so I think of their 10 games, I think we held them to their 2 lowest point totals on the year. One, outright, and then one that tied with the Faulkner game. So, I mean, even though you don't want to give up 49 points, our defense made some big plays at times.
I want to talk about the defense for a moment. I thought the 2 biggest defensive stops for Lindsey Wilson, obviously, you came out of the locker room, and that may have been the only 3 and out of the day.
Yeah.
And that was huge. Plus the one where the little pooch quarterback punt as well.
Yeah.
But the three and out that you guys produced in that first half, it looked like you were a little bit more aggressive. That you attacked. I mean, at least you had a sack in that drive. Was there some adjustment or something that you guys made at the break?
I mean, we really challenged them up to play with more physicality and tackle better, I think was the biggest thing. I'm not sure we necessarily made a lot of changes schematically to what we were doing. We just weren't tackling real well. But to come out on the first one and get a sack on play 1, get penetration right there, that was big. And all of a sudden they're, I think, 2nd and 15, 2nd and 16, and behind the chains for one of the first times all day long. It was just came out and we made more plays on defense. I don't think it was necessarily changes. I think it was just something that we did better.
Talk about the weather for a moment. How difficult, because when you put up 63 and 49 points and you say, well, the weather was a factor, it didn't appear to be a factor, at least from up here, except maybe that next to last Southeastern drive when that rain really hit. But how much was the weather a factor today?
It was a factor, but you look at the scoreboard and you wouldn't think so, but it was a factor. It was a factor in the kicking game. I think both teams handled it really well. Both quarterbacks threw the ball well. I think they had 4 incompletions. He was perfect at halftime. So I think both quarterbacks handled it well, but it was still tough, to handle, the weather and you wouldn't take the over in this game when you were standing out there, before kickoff, but 112 points between the 2 of us. Just one of those days that both offenses were clicking, and thankfully we had those 7 points on special teams too.
And yeah, I was getting ready to ask about that because they looked like it was a conscious effort to keep the ball away from Blake Eagleton, who has returned 2 touchdowns kickoff 4 touchdowns this season, 1 against Southeastern. But you know what? There's another guy just to his left that's just as deadly in AC, and it was good to see AC return 191 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah, it was obviously huge. That's an understatement, and it's something that we take pride in being great on special teams, take pride in working on it, and the returners get the glory on those things, but man, you got those other 10 guys out there blocking, and you're seeing the guys celebrate. I mean, if you go back and watch a replay for that, it was one of those. I don't always see the details of what happens behind the play, but that was one. I'm scanning the field looking for flags, and you're just seeing those other guys on the field, high-fiving and chest bumping, and they're so excited, obviously, that we just did that. But it's selflessness, and that's one of the cool things about that. So that was a fun play. And we had 2 special guys back there.
Offensive player of the game was Blake Eagleton, and that may have been the easiest decision for the committee that selected him. An amazing, set 2 program records today, 240-plus yards, 5 rushing touchdowns. And you know what? He had a lot of yards after contact, so there was a lot of that. But there was also some plays where that offensive line opened up some big holes for him.
Yeah, I thought our offensive line played really well. We had pressure a couple times, when we threw the ball, and their defensive line is really good, and their defensive line is playing better now than they were the first time. But we ran the ball so well. Formationally, they had some times where they gave us 5 in the box, and we made them pay on that. The first long touchdown run was one of those. We kind of spread them out. They went 5 in the box, and our offensive line did a great job. Blake did the rest, but offensive line, and then receivers blocking downfield as well. And then the last one it was really fun for everybody because it took the pressure off. That was probably his most open run of the day. We're talking about, and that was wide open. He did a great job setting up his blockers, and we had a nice crease right there. So he played outstanding. We wanted to get him a certain number of touches today, and he didn't disappoint. He played really well.
And then Joe Lewis was the defensive player of the game. He had double-digit tackles, I think 15 tackles, had 2 TFLs and a sack. Tony Brackens could have easily been it. He had 16 tackles in the game. Your defense, you look at the scoreboard, they gave up 49 points, but there was times when it was a collective group. They really rushed to the football, especially the last 4th down play when the turnover on downs. That was one of the ones that really sticks out. And they had while they gave up a bunch of points, there was some good things that's going to come off this defense.
Yeah, and there were a lot more positives in the second half. We finished better than we started, and they just stress you so much with what they do. You can't get your subs in. You get guys worn out, and it's just really difficult to handle that, and that's why they're so good. But we made enough plays, and fortunately our offense came to play today, and defense came up at the a couple critical times in the second half.
You talk about it all the time, Coach, and I want you to elaborate a little bit on this one. You said it's so hard to win a collegiate football game, and every time you do that just says something about the commitment of your players, of your coaches, of everyone. But when you win a playoff game against a team that's ranked in the top 10 in the country, I gotta think that's even more gratifying to you, your coaching staff, to your kids. This is something you can enjoy. I know you can't enjoy it too long because you got to play again next week. But I know you got to be very, very proud.
Yeah, I am, and there's just so many challenges. Like we started off with, so many challenges this week mentally. To come in and prepare and be ready to go, and we got it done. It wasn't always pretty, but our guys got it done, and we'll take it. We beat a really good football team today, so we're excited to be able to be home one more time at least. We'll reset. We'll have another really good football team coming in here Thanksgiving weekend, and we'll be ready to go.
Coach, congratulations on today's win.
Thanks, Chris.